Hello friends, welcome to Engineering Funda family. In this video, I will solve 5 interesting examples based on systems. Before I start with my solution, I want you to try those questions first. Later you can check for the solution in this video itself. So this is question number 1. Freeze the video and try it by your own. This is question number 2. Freeze the video and try it by your own. This is question number 3. This is question number 4. Freeze the video and try it by your own. And this is last problem of this video. I hope you might have tried all those questions. Now let me explain solution of question number 1. See here in question 1, we need to test the time invariance of the following systems. In my last video, I have discussed about classifications of systems. In that video, I have explained how to check whether given system is time invariant or not. To understand time invariance of system, there are two cases that we need to analyze. See, in case 1, we give input to system and then output of system is given to delay. In second case, we give input to delay and that delayed input is given to system and we see output. If both of these outputs are equal, then one can say given system is time invariant system, right? So now what I'll do is I'll do this process with problem number 1. So here in problem 1, we have y of n that is equals to x of n plus c. So first of all, we will give shift to input. So here shifted input, that will be x of n minus k. So in that case, let us consider output is y of n comma k. So here you will get output where input is shifted. So that will be x of n minus k plus c. In second situation, what we need to do? We need to provide shift in output. So now output will be y of n minus k. See, shift in output means what? Shift in output means instead of n, we need to substitute n minus k. So here you will get y of n minus k. Instead of n, now I'll substitute n minus k. And if you observe, case A and case B, both are same. What it means? It means given system is time invariant system. Now let me check it for second system. So in second system also we will provide shift in input. So now input will be x of n minus k. So our output will be y of n comma k. So instead of x of n, we have x of n minus k. And instead of x of n minus 1, we have x of n minus k minus 1. In second situation, we will provide shift in output. So here, what you will get? You will get y of n minus k. See, shift in output means what? Here, instead of n, you will substitute n minus k. So you will get y of n minus k. Instead of n, we need to substitute n minus k. And if you compare case A and case B, so both are same, right? What it means? It means given system is time invariant system. Now let us identify third system. So here in third system, we will provide shift in input. So now input will be x of n minus k. So in that situation, output will be y of n comma k. So here you see we have x of minus n. So with x of n, we provide shift as per minus k. So here with x of minus n minus k, that will be the case which we have. By minus k, we provide delay. Now in second case, what we need to do? We need to provide shift in output. So now we will be having y of n minus k. So here what we need to do? We need to substitute n is equals to n minus k. So you will get y of n minus k, and here we have x of minus n. Instead of n, you need to substitute n minus k. So this will be x of minus n plus k. So if you observe case A and case B, both are different, right? It means given system is time variant system. Now same thing that I'll follow for last problem. So here with system 4, we will provide shift in input. So now input will be x of n minus k. In that situation, output will be y of n comma k. If you observe, here x of n is there, so that will be x of n minus k. Here b is constant. Instead of x of n minus 1, now we have n minus k minus 1. In second situation, we will provide shift in output. So your output will be y of n minus k. So here, instead of n, we need to substitute n minus k. So x of n will become x of n minus k. This b is constant. And here, instead of n, I'll substitute n minus k. If you observe case A and case B, both are same, right? What it means? Given system is time invariant system. See here in second problem also, if you observe this first system, that is time invariant system. But if you observe this fourth system, so in that if you apply delay to input, then that will be x of n minus k. But if you apply delay to output, then instead of n, we will substitute n minus k. So you will get fourth system, that will be time variant system, right? Now, let me solve problem number 2, in which we need to check for causality. To understand causality, one should know given system that should be having output which is depending on present and past input, right? Like you see here with first system, output is depending on present input, and if you observe, this is past input, right? One should know, see y of n, that is having present input x of n, and y of n, that is having past input, that is x of n minus something. So here output is depending on present input and past input, means given system is causal system, right? Now if you observe second system, so here we have x of n, that is present input, and here we have x of n minus 1, that is past input. So based on that, one can say this system is also causal system, right? Now let me check third system. See here in third system, we need to understand what is our output. Like you see, if you consider n is equals to 2, then you will get y of 2, and that will be x of 4. Here n square, that will be x of 4 over here. So if you observe y of 2, that is current output. So current input should be x of 2. But here we have x of 4. What it means? This is future output. Then one can say given system is non-causal system. Now let me check fourth system. See here our output is depending on x of n, that is present input, right? So one can say given system is also causal system. Now let me solve problem number 3. See here in problem 3, we need to state BIBO stability criteria for LTI systems. Test the stability of the LTI systems whose impulse response is given over here. So based on impulse response, we need to check bounded input, bounded output stability criteria. First of all, one should know what is BIBO stability criteria. Let me write it over here. See, for BIBO, bounded input, bounded output, summation of impulse response means n is varying from minus infinity to plus infinity, mode of h of n, that should be having finite value, right? Means it should be lower than infinite. Then one can say given system is BIBO, bounded input, bounded output. So this is what we need to check. Now here, if you observe, we have two terms with h of n. This is first term and this is second term, right? Now, let me try to explain what is the first term with this given stability criteria. So if you observe first term, then for first term, here if you talk about summation, where if you observe u of minus n is there, means if you talk about n varies from minus infinity to 0, then in that case we have negative range. Negative range means n is negative and u of n, that will be unity. So for negative range, here you will be having 0.2 to the power negative n, right? Means this will be summation where n is ranging from minus infinity to 0, 0.2 to the power minus n means 1 divided by 0.2 means 5 to the power n. In that case, one can say this n that is ranging from 0 to infinity. So if you have 5 to the power n, where n is ranging from 0 to infinity, then this addition will become infinite, right? As this is infinite, in total addition of first and second term, that will be infinite. So in our case, over here, if you talk about summation where n is ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, summation of h of n, then this is infinite. Means given system is unstable system. So always remember, as then when you check for BIBO stability criteria, at that time summation of impulse response where n is ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, that should be having finite value. Otherwise, system will be unstable system, right? Now, let me explain example number 4. See, in example 4, first of all, we need to understand what is minimum phase system. Let me define this. See, when you talk about minimum phase system, then with minimum phase system, we have all the poles and all zeros that is having lower than unit value. Means all the poles and all the zeros are inside the unit circle, right? So for minimum phase system, one should know all the poles and all the zeros that should be having values which is lower than unit. Means all the poles and all the zeros are there inside the unit circle in the z plane, right? In that situation, one can say given system is minimum phase system. So here we need to check for all the poles and we need to check for all the zeros, and that value should be lower than 1 in z plane, right? So first of all, we need to give transfer function in terms of z domain, and once we have transfer function, we need to see poles and zeros. If all the poles and all the zeros are having value which is lower than unit, then one can say given system is minimum phase system. Let me give some example. H of z, that is a transfer function in z domain, that is 1 plus 0.2 z inverse divided by 1 minus 0.5 z inverse. So with this transfer function, first of all we need to see location of poles and zeros. See, numerator explains 0 and denominator explain pole. If you observe location of 0, let us say Z1. So here we will be having 0 at minus 0.2, and if you talk about pole, then root of this, that will be there at 0.5, and here magnitude, that will be lower than 1. Here if you observe magnitude, that will be lower than 1. What it means? This given system, that is minimum phase system. So as and when you want to test whether given system is minimum phase system or not, in that case we need to have transfer function in terms of Z domain. Then we need to check location of poles and zeros. If value of poles and zeros, that is lower than 1 for all the poles and all the zeros, in that case one can say given system is minimum phase system. Right. Now let me explain example number 5. See, here we need to write the conditions for discrete LTI system to be causal and BIBO stable. Let me explain that. See, if you want to test causality, then one should know causality means what? Causality means our output is depending on present input and past input, right? But here we are talking about conditions for LTI system where we will be having h of n, right? So here, if you talk about h of n with causality, then that should be having value 0 if n is lower than 0. In that case, one can say given system is causal system. In terms of definition, if you talk about output, then output should be depending on present input and past input, right? But based on response, one can say h of n should be 0 where n is less than 0, right? And if you talk about stability, then for stability check, here we need to perform summation where n is ranging from minus infinite to plus infinite. Mode of h of n, that should be having finite value, means it should be lower than infinite. Then one can say given system is stable, right? So based on these two conditions, one can understand causality and stability, right? In this video lecture series, I'll be solving 5 questions only. If you want to solve more questions based on systems, then you should go through my video lecture series of signals and systems, in which I have solved more than 25 questions. Still, if you have any confusion, just place that in comment section. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video.